Hi everyone, today I'm going to be playing Mansions of Madness, the second edition, and if you can hear the spooky music, that's because I am accompanied by an app today. There is an app in this game that is required, that's going to take the role of the keeper, the dungeon master from the first edition. That is all controlled by this app now, and it is going to help us set up the game and basically run the game for us. So let's just get started, and I'll just try and explain the rules as we go along. So I'll select New Game, and there you can see the camera. So we have some scenarios available in this, and the first one is the Cycle of Eternity. It's not so difficult, it takes 60 to 90 minutes. That's what I'm going to be playing today, but there are 4 scenarios in here. So there's Escape from Innsmouth, that takes a bit longer, a bit harder. The very hard Shattered Bonds, which is 2 to 3 hours, full difficulty, and then one that's not as hard, but it's going to take 4 to 6 hours. And I think for that scenario, a lot of people will be making use of the save game that's in here. Although I will say that at the moment, at the time this comes out, there are a few bugs in the app, and there is an update available on Steam, but it hasn't come through to iOS yet, so I haven't got it. And even in the update, they've said that try to finish the games in one session if you can, so maybe not this one at the moment. But we're going for Cycle of Eternity, 60 to 90 minutes, and let's go. So we select our investigators now. We say who we are going to be playing as. These are the 8 that come with the game. You can as well, if you have the first edition or any of its expansions, you can go into the menu in the app and add them in, and it will incorporate the tiles and monsters and things from the first edition, so you can play them in this. And there is an upgrade pack that's included in the box, so you can kind of make the tokens and everything compatible with this new edition. So for this game, I am going to be playing William Yorick. So let's select him in the app, and also Wendy Adams. There she is. And this is technically a solo playthrough, because I'm here on my own, and the solo playthrough is basically the 2-player playthrough. The solo player plays with 2 characters, so you can look at this as how to play solo or 2-player. So there's our selected investigators. Let's go to gain starting items. So we begin the scenario with these items here, and then we decide who gets what. So I'll just grab them from the decks now. I will just mention that there are multiple copies of the Instill Bravery spell, and when you gain a spell, you randomly pick one and take it, and do not look at the other side of it. When you cast the spell, it's going to give you a certain effect and then tell you to gain another copy of the spell. So we just grab a random one and leave the rest in the deck. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got. So the Holy Cross is going to let an investigator roll an additional die when doing a will test. This is going to help with sanity. It's as an action we can discard face down horror, which is what we get when we start to go insane. Machete, just a bladed weapon, but 2 damage. Pocket watch is going to help somebody, give somebody more time when attempting puzzles, and Instill Bravery is a spell, which is going to let someone discard a horror. So we might as well give one of these each. The spell for horror and the item for horror, we'll give one of those to each of our investigators. And I think with lower will, we should give the Holy Cross to Wendy. She only has 3 will to William's 4. And then the machete, let's give to William. I'm not too sure. And the pocket watch, let's give the pocket watch to Wendy as well. We can trade later if we're on the same space, but that is it for the items. Each investigator begins with 2 clues as well, so let's just give those tokens out. And now we continue setup. Okay, I'm not sure that the app is loud enough to be picked up clearly on the microphone. There is narration in the app for this portion of the game, but I will just read it for the sake of the microphone not picking it up. So, you slump into your office chair after another long day of interviews. You have been investigating the disappearances surrounding a wealthy neighbourhood for 2 weeks, but you have nothing to show for it. The telephone rings. You answer and hear the panicked voice of an older man. Is this the investigator who visited the Vanderbilt estate? You flip through the files on your desk. William Vanderbilt, a wealthy bachelor, mother recently deceased. He had refused to meet with you, but you were able to speak to several members of his serving staff. This is Eugene, Mr. Vanderbilt's butler. I did not know who to call. The police think I'm crazy. Unnatural things have started happening here. I'm worried for my master. I think he is in danger. Please help. Finally, a lead. You hang up the phone, throw on your coat, and leave for the Vanderbilt estate. So that is our situation. The introduction and kind of the setting and things that we'll find around the mansion will clue us into what our actual objective is. So here we go with the actual game. So your car rattles up the uneven drive, pulling to a stop in front of the estate. Several cars and carriages are parked along the drive. However, the butler who contacted you is nowhere to be seen. You knock on the large oak door to no response. Fearing something has happened, you try the handle and the door swings open into a lavish entryway. Place the lobby tile and walls as indicated. So here is the lobby tile. That's going to be our start in the mansion. And then it's going to show us some walls up there that I've just skipped past, but I will just grab them. And they are basically just cutting off doors that are on the tile. So here we go. You step into the warmth of the house. A strange stillness hangs in the air, and your footsteps echo through the quiet entrance. Place your investigator figures as indicated. And so there was a stack of papers in the table in the middle. So I'll put a clue token on there. And then a table with a telephone sits at the top of the stairs on the right. And we place another search token on the map to basically just show us points of interest. A mysterious painting of a nightmare landscape looms over the lobby staircases. Place a search token up there. Oh dear. The silence is broken by the muffled shouts and sounds of crashing pots and pans coming from the door on your left. Place an explore token as indicated. And then you notice a shelf stacked with books and other objects nearby. Pushing it in front of the door could prevent someone or something from coming through. So we place a barricade here, and this isn't handled through the app, but we can basically use actions to barricade this door, and whatever made that noise, we can lock it inside there. And 3 other doors lead into the mansion, so I will just place tokens on those doors. And we start the game in the investigator phase. So I think it's a good time to quickly go over the actions that we can take in the game. In the investigator phase, each person in the turn order of our choice takes 2 actions, and they can be the same action or different actions. So the most common ones, the move action, move up to 2 spaces. Movement can be interrupted to perform other actions. If you can see here, these little white lines here, they indicate different spaces on this tile. And going to different tiles is also a movement through doors, although you'll usually have to take an explore action to do that first. So moving 2 spaces could get someone 1, 2, although obviously you just go 1. So you can interrupt that movement to do other actions. You can use a search action, and this is done through the app. Anything with a search token there, you can use a search action to investigate, and that's one of your 2 actions. You can explore one of these rooms here as an action. You can interact. If we find any people in the mansion, we can use an action to interact with them. We can attack if there are any monsters here, which I'll go through when we actually find one, and we will. And you can do a trade action. You can trade possessions with other investigators that are in the same space as you. You can pick up and drop possessions that are in your space. And there are some other actions, but they are rarely used. You can set fires and steal and things, but they are usually used when someone goes insane, which they can do in this game. There can be, they get a new objective, and that could possibly be working against the other members of the team. But I don't think they're present in a less than 3-player game. You can also barricade a door as an action as well. So let's just get going with the game. So I am quite worried about the sounds that we heard in there. I am tempted to go in there, but let's first see what's going on here. What are these papers in the middle of the room? So who will go first? I think Wendy will go first. Wendy will investigate these papers here. So to do that, we come to the app and press the button there. A disheveled pile of papers sits on a table. And whenever you see this symbol here, that means this is going to cost an action. So one of her 2 actions is searching this. So the papers stacked on the table are invitations marked with today's date. The stars have come round to their positions in the cycle of eternity. The Vanderbilt Astronomy Association cordially invites you to a celebratory evening. Gain 1 clue, then discard the search token. So that is gone from there. And Wendy gets a 3rd clue token, and these are used to improve dice results and give you more time in puzzles, which we will find later. So her 2nd action, I think she will explore this door, the door we heard all of the sounds coming from. So let's go in there and see what's going on. A ruckus can be heard on the other side of this door, shouting, the crash of pots and pans. And is that hissing? Oh dear, this doesn't sound good. So, the door swings open to reveal a dining room in chaos. An aging man in a tailcoat scrambles through a serving window into the kitchen as he tries to escape a strange black creature writhing on the dining room table. Discard this explore token, place the dining room tile and a wall as indicated. There we go, there is the dining room with its wall at the top there. So, what's in here? The creature turns to face you. Its black serpentine body shifts and changes, playing tricks on your eyes as you try to focus on it. The creature unfurls its leathery wings and unleashes a blood-curdling screech. Spawn a hunting horror as indicated, then suffer 2 horror. So, we need a hunting horror. That's one of these guys here. And it's got some statistics on the top there. This is going to come into play when you try and evade. There is the number when you have to face horror checks against it. And then at the bottom we have its brawn and some special details of it. So this is flying, so it can move through impassable borders. Also, it has some flavor text there. So, black and ropey and relentless, the creature flies swiftly, always seeking its quarry. Its ever-changing form is hard to see for mortal eyes. And that is the hunting horror. And that is what Wendy is facing in this room. She suffers 2 horror, which is mental damage, but she can negate this by performing a will check. That's what that symbol is there. You see there's little symbols next to all of her statistics. And so her will value is how many dice she gets to roll. She gets to roll 3, but thanks to the Holy Cross there, she gets to roll an additional 1. So let's grab 4 dice. And she is hopefully going to roll 2 successes. So on the dice there are elder signs, which are successes, and there are search symbols there. You can spend a search token to turn those into elder signs, and there is also nothing on a lot of the faces. So let's see what she gets. She rolled 1, and I think she's going to spend 1 of her 3 clue tokens to turn that into an elder sign. So she has negated both of the horror she would suffer there. In the center of the dining table, a carving knife sits embedded in a roast. Place the knife common item as indicated, and someone can pick this up as part of a trade action. So the knife is in here with the hunting horror. A china cabinet stands against the wall, though it looks to have been repurposed to store all manner of knickknacks. Place a search token as indicated. You can see a kitchen through the serving window. Most of the cabinets are ajar due to the food preparation, but one that has been locked shut with a chain catches your attention. Place a search token there. And in the kitchen you can also see that someone has left the refrigerator open. Water leaks out onto a puddle on the floor. And what else? Oh, here we go. You spot the old man you saw climbing through the serving window, huddling in the corner behind the oven. Sweat beads off his brow and his eyes bulge in terror. Place a person token as indicated. This is Eugene the butler. There he is. There is Eugene Clemens, and he is cowering in the kitchen there. You may move 1 space into the explored area. And should she do that, because it puts her in here so we can start doing actions, but it also means that she might have to face this beast and she doesn't have any actions left. Let's send her in there for free. And that's both of her actions. She explored this space and then she explored there. She searched and explored and moved in there because the app said she could. So William, let's use his first action to move. So he's going to move 1 space. There's Marty there just checking out the mansion. And then let's interrupt that movement to perform another action. Let's attack. And so I can show you attacking. And it's probably not going to kill this guy because he's quite strong. But let's attack him. So to attack a monster, you select this monster drawer here and select the monster you wish to attack. There's only 1 at the moment, so I'll just select this one. And then we can see the hunting horror. We choose attack, and this is a really cool part. Which type of weapon will you like to attack with? And I could attack unarmed, or I could attack with my bladed weapon, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to attack with a bladed weapon, and here is my actual attack. With the strength of both hands, you drive the sharp edge deep into the beast. And now we need to perform a strength check, and we need 2 successes. That's what that means there. The symbol and then the semicolon shows the number of successes that we need. My strength is 4, so let's roll the dice for this attack. And I have got 2 successes there, and I passed. So you gruesomely wrench the blade free. The monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage plus your test result. My weapon's damage is 2. I have 2 successes on there. Nothing I could turn into a success, unfortunately, but that is quite nice because that is 4 damage, and the monster only has 5 health. And that is the end of my 2 actions. I moved in here, or William did, and he attacked for his second action. So now, both investigators have taken 2 actions. We select this to end the investigator phase, and the mythos phase will start. So there's going to be an event that happens. So a sudden sharp crack and a slam sound out, making William Yorick jump. He suffers 1 face-down horror, but will negates. He has 4 will, so that's another 4 dice to be rolled. And wow, he could have done with that for the attack. He rolls 2 successes straight out, so he negates all of that horror. And now, monsters activate. So the hunting horror moves 3 spaces toward the investigator within range with the lowest agility, and it then attacks that investigator. The lowest agility is William. He has 3 to Wendy's 5, so he is going to attack William. If, after moving 3, he still wasn't on an investigator, we would select that, and maybe he would move more. Maybe that would be the end of his movement. So the monster attacks. The creature moves with alarming speed, lashing towards you with a single motion of its hideous black wings. So for 2 damage, agility negates. That's why he went for the person with the least agility. So William has 3 agility, so let's roll 3 dice. And he has rolled a success and a clue symbol. He's going to spend one of his clues to turn that into a success. So he doesn't take any damage there. And each investigator now has to resolve a horror check against the monster within range with the highest horror rating. So we both have to do a horror check. So let's do Wendy's first. She needs to do a horror check against this monster. How can such a monster exist? It flutters on wings too small to support its bulk, sliding sinuously through spaces where it should not fit. Its every movement sends a terrible thrill running down your spine. So for 3 horror, will -1 negates. So she can roll 4 normally for will, but she is only going to get to roll 3. And she rolls 1 success, so she suffers 2 horror. And the way we do this is we draw from the horror deck, and it doesn't say face down, so we need to do this one at a time. So, first of all, hysteria, you scream and scream and scream, you slap yourself as hard as you can, hoping to break the cycle. Resolve immediately, flip a damage face up, then flip this face down. She doesn't have any damage, so that's okay. We need another one. Startled, you stagger backward in alarm. No effect. Discard this card. That's quite nice. Now William needs to check. The creature makes a strange whistling noise that pierces through the din of flapping wings and whipping tail. He needs to make a will check with 2 successes. So, 4 dice. And he has 1 success and a clue token there. I think he's going to spend that. And so he passed. So you cover your ears and wait for the sound to fade. And that is the end of the horror checks. So we can end the mythos phase now, and we are back to the investigator phase where we can take our actions. So I think, to start off with, William is going to go first, and he is going to attack that monster again. So he's going to attack with a bladed weapon again. So you throw the full force of your weight behind a vicious stab. Strength check, and we need 2 successes, so that's 4 dice again. And he rolled 2 successes and a clue, but 2 is all he needed. If you pass, your blade punches deep into the creature's flesh. The monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage plus your test result. And that is another 4 damage, but with 5 damage, are you sure you want to discard the hunting horror? Yes, I do. He has been defeated. And I'll just quickly say that whenever a monster is defeated, William Yorick gains a clue token. There we go. So the creature lurches to the ground dead. Hearing the monster's final fate, the old man in the kitchen cautiously steps out. So we move Eugene into the room with us. And I am going to use my second action to interact with Eugene. So the old man brushes himself off and tries to calm his shaken composure. You came just in time. Thank you so much for saving me. The name is Eugene. We spoke earlier today. I have heard noises from the attic, but the door is locked. I think something bad is going to happen. So we spend an action to interact with him, so we can say, "Are you okay?" or "Where is Mr. Vanderbilt?" Let's ask him if he's okay. The butler puts on a weak smile and the two of you chat for a minute. By the end of the conversation, he seems much calmer. "Please, take this with you. It's always brought me luck." Gained the lucky rabbit's foot, and then each investigator in the dining room and kitchen discards a horror. So that is great for Wendy because she has a horror. It doesn't affect me, and I'll just grab that rabbit's foot. So here it is. Once per round, you may re-roll a die. And who should we give that to? William's got less items. Let's give that to William. So he is going to get a free re-roll once per round. And that is the end of his actions. He attacked, he interacted. Now let's move on to Wendy. I think, since she doesn't have a weapon, she would like to use a trade action to grab this knife. I think then, let's take her to the kitchen so she can investigate these clue tokens here. So she'll move her full 2 movement, and let's just stop there. So that's 2 actions very quickly for both of these investigators. Mythos phase, but there's no monsters, so this shouldn't be too bad. Light flickers, and for an instant, shadows that were cast by nothing on this earth stalk across the wall. No immediate effect. Well, that was nice. So back to the actions. Let's go for Wendy then. She is going to investigate that chained cabinet there. So someone has locked this cabinet by wrapping a chain around the handles. So the chain is sturdy, but the cabinet doors are made of thin wood. You think you could break one of the doors off. She needs to make a strength check, roll 2 additional dice if you have the crowbar. She doesn't have the crowbar, but she gets to roll 3 dice for her strength. So she has rolled 2 successes there. So we don't know how many we require to break open this cabinet. The flimsy wood cracks as you pull the cabinet door off its hinges. Gain the Elder Ward common item, then discard this search token. So Wendy gets the Elder Ward, roll an additional die while a monster is attacking you. Ooh. So that was her first action. So that search token's gone away. I think her second action will be to move into this space, and she will have a look at the refrigerator next round. William, he could investigate the knickknacks. He could move and then investigate and search. Although maybe we want to talk to Eugene a little bit more and see where Mr. Vanderbilt is. Something to do with this astronomy society. Eugene calmly tells you what happened before you arrived. Several robed figures entered the mansion through the side door and took Mr. Vanderbilt to the attic. Soon after they arrived, I could hear them chanting. Oh no. So let's use our first action. Where is that? Those ruffians took Mr. Vanderbilt to the attic. You can get to the attic through the west door of the hall, but the door is locked. Mr. Vanderbilt lightly keeps the key in his... Wait, I'm not sure if he would want me trusting you with this. So we need to use our influence, and he has 3 influence on William. So 3 dice, but he will be able to re-roll 1. So let's see what he gets. He gets 2 successes. Do I want to spend a clue token to get a 3rd? It's kind of important to know what's going on. Yes, let's spend a clue token. So we have 3 successes. Let's see. All right, Mr. Vanderbilt has a hidden office that he often retreats to. The door is hidden in the estate's library, which is through the east door when you get to the hall. It uses a very strange lock hidden behind a bookshelf. The butler instructs you how to open the secret door in the library, gain a clue. So we stay at our 1 clue. And we have all the information we need, I think, from Eugene. Let's use our next action to move 2 spaces, I think. And he is going to move 1, 2, and get ready to search and explore next turn, because we need to find a hall and then a library. So I think that's the end of the investigative phase. So Wendy Adams runs frantically from some unseen evil, only to lose her footing. Agility check, she needs 2 successes, but she rolls 5 dice, so hopefully she can do that. And she gets 2 successes. If she passes, she stumbles but catches herself before falling. So the investigative phase again, with no monsters, there isn't really much for the mythos phase to hit us with yet. So Since Wendy is there, she is going to investigate the refrigerator. It has been left cracked open, leaving a pool of water leaking onto the floor. You pull open the heavy refrigerator door. Your eyes lock with that of an ancient being. Visions flash into your memory, and you hear its alien words in your mind, revealing to you unknowable truths and unspeakable secrets. Suffer one face-down horror and gain the Feed the Mind spell. Okay. So she gets a face-down horror back, so she's got 1 towards her limit of 8, so she shouldn't be too worried. And then let's grab a random Feed the Mind. So Feed the Mind, you or another investigator within range become focused, then flip this card. That's quite nice. Wendy has got quite a little collection going on over there. And for her second action, I think she is just going to dash past Eugene and go into the lobby there. As for William, I think he will investigate the... Was it a telephone on here? An end table stands against the wall holding a telephone. Let's use an action to search this. You try the drawer, but the warped wood has left it stuck shut. So let's roll 4 dice for a strength check. And we got 3 successes there. That's really good. With a powerful tug, you open the drawer, causing the phone to go crashing to the ground. Inside the drawer, you find an item that looks like it's been sitting there for quite some time. Gain the Whiskey common item. So here is the whiskey. As an action, you can discard 2 face-down horror, then flip this card. Oh, I wonder if a lot of the cards that have other sides you are not allowed to look at. So I assume I'm not allowed to look at that. So that was his first action. His second action is going to be to explore this door here. Let's find out what's over there. It leads deeper into the mansion. Oh. So this must be the hall it's talking about. The door opens into a dim hallway that winds through the heart of the mansion. Place the hall corner 2 and the hall end tiles and get rid of all of these explore tokens. So I'll just grab those tiles. So a wooden desk stands against the wall. We'll be able to search that. Someone acting in a hurry has knocked over a stack of papers. 3 doors lead to other rooms of the mansion. So I think, did it say the east was the library? There's a library and then there's something... We're finding a key, aren't we? You could use the surrounding furniture to barricade the door. I don't think we want to barricade the library. But hey, we don't know what's going to be in there. So you may move a space into the explored area. And this is the end of our actions. He's going to do that. And that is it. So, Mythos phase. What happens now? Whispered voices drift down the halls. Their chanting becomes louder and louder. Wendy Adams covers her ears and starts banging her head against the wall to get the voices out. She suffers a face-down damage and a horror, but will negates. So, 4 dice for a will check. And she gets 2 clue symbols. She could spend both of her clue tokens. I think she's going to spend 1 to negate the damage, because you can choose what you negate. She's going to take a horror. So the horror she faces is no additional effect. Minor shock. Your heart races and your breath catches in your throat. So that's just 2 face-down horror she's got now. She has a limit of 8. And we are back to the investigative phase again. No creepy crawlies have been jumping from thin air. Okay, so we want to get into the library. Wendy is still quite far away to be able to do anything. But let's move William a space, so we can move him 1 space, and then we can interrupt that movement to perform another action. So I am going to explore. So let's handle that on the app. A wood plaque marked library is fastened to the center of the door. Okay, the door creaks on its hinges as you push it open to reveal the library. Bookshelves line the walls. Discard this and place the library tile. So as you can see, the mansion is growing here. It's really cool as we explore around here. And what's in here? A pile of research materials that have been recently used sits on a small wooden desk. A robed figure is pushing a bookshelf back into place. Well, that seems very suspicious, doesn't it? Place a search token as indicated. The robed figure draws out a strange idol and begins chanting. Before your very eyes, a terrifying creature appears out of thin air. The cult member speaks some words to it in a strange language, but the creature turns on him, tearing him to pieces before your eyes. Sport a hunting horror, then suffer 2 horror and will negates. So we have another hunting horror there in the library. And he needs to make a will check, so that's 4 dice to negate this horror. And wow, 4 successes. he negates that. You may move a space into the explored area, so let's go into the library. And he can move again, but he can't really. This isn't a great position to be in because he hasn't got any actions left to attack the monster. But the monster is just going to come for him anyway, so he might as well be in there ready to attack it next turn, I think. And then Wendy, she has 2 actions, but she's a little bit out of range here. So let's go, she can move 1, 2, and then she could move another 1 and maybe investigate whatever this is here next turn. So yes, let's do that. So end the investigator phase, mythos phase. So a piping, haunting music echoes from everywhere, but only William Yorick can hear it. He suffers 2 horror and law +1 negates. So he has 3 successes there. He then flips 2 horror face up. He doesn't have any. He negates all that horror and then has nothing to flip anyway. I've been really lucky on those rolls. A robed figure bursts into the entrance and yells, "There's someone here!" You hear a muffled response from another part of the estate. Get rid of them! Spawn a cultist as indicated. So we have our first cultist here in the lobby, and he is going to be making his way to us. So the hunting horror moves 3 spaces towards the investigator within range with the lowest strength. The lowest strength is Wendy, as a matter of fact, so it's going to move over there to her. And then it attacks. The creature grabs you in its claws, attempting to drag you away. Agility check with 2 successes, but Wendy rolls 5 dice for agility, so hopefully she can do something good here. So she has 1 success, but she is going to spend a clue and turn this into a success, so she passes. You hold your ground and bat the beast away. So the cultist then moves 2 spaces to be adjacent to as many investigators as possible. So he's going to move 1, 2, and then it's going to try and attack, but it cannot move to be in range. He moves 2 spaces to the nearest investigator. So Wendy is in some trouble there. Each investigator must resolve a horror check with it for the monsters in range. So the horror rating of a monster is in its bottom right corner there. So the cultist has a rating of 1. The hunting horror, on the other hand, has a rating of 6. So he is going to be the horror check that Wendy resolves. The creature's keening cry rises all around you. Suffer 3 face down horror, will negates. And bad things are going to happen if she suffers any horror, but she doesn't have any clue tokens, so let's see what she rolls. She rolls 3, suffer 3 face down horror, so she negates it all. And she would normally become restrained if she did take any damage, but Wendy Adams cannot be stunned or restrained. And since William is in another room, he is not in range of a horror check. He cannot see the grisly horrors that are affecting Wendy right now.